On today's episode of the Real Recovery Podcast, episode number 61, we are honored to welcome Kimberly Good. Kimberly shares her journey through generational trauma, parental addiction, and childhood separation. From an early age, she faced instability, foster care, and heartbreak, but never lost her yearning for connection and purpose. In this heartfelt conversation, Kimberly opens up about the mentors who saw her, the moments that changed her path, and the internal shift that allowed her to finally begin healing. Now in long-term recovery, she's building a life of compassion and courage, one grounded in faith, community, and authenticity. This episode is a powerful reminder that no matter how dark our past may be, healing is possible, and love can lead the way.
Hello, and welcome to the Real Recovery Podcast. I'm Julie, your co-host. On this journey of healing and transformation, together with my co-host Peter, we dive into the heart of recovery, sharing stories that resonate with courage and inspiration.
That's right, Julie. Each episode is a new chapter in this vast narrative of recovery, and we're honored to bring them to you. But keep in mind the perspectives you'll hear are for informational purposes only and may not reflect the views of the podcast or our partners.
Indeed, while these conversations can be a powerful part of your recovery toolkit, they are not substitute for professional medical advice. We encourage you to seek guidance from your healthcare provider for any treatment-related decisions.
And if you're facing an immediate crisis, or if you just need to talk to someone who understands, don't hesitate to call the Recovery Crisis Line at 503-223-8569. That number is also on our website. Help is available 24/7.
Now let's begin our episode
of Recovery, Real Recovery.
Hi, this is Julie.
And this is Peter with the Real Recovery Podcast and
Kim. This is Kim and she's good.
Kim good.
Yes.
I love it.
I
Well,
haven't
welcome,
seen
Kim.
in a while. I'm really glad you're here.
Of course.
I knew you had a story because you told me. You didn't tell me the story, but you told me, girl, I have a story. And we like to switch it up from we can't always stay in our home group, though there's been a lot of them that have been kind to us. And so we try to do boy, girl, LGBTQ, we've trans,
variety.
Something for everyone.
Criminon.
Yeah.
Criminon's a good one.
Oh,
We just had them.
they were awesome. They were so
I want a
incredible.
jacket. I want the Letterman's jacket so bad. If you're listening, no.
Yeah.
That one was a really good one.
Yeah.
What's amazing is to see someone who on the surface is this big, burly guy. I'm talking about Zane, who had
57
felony. Here's this guy. And here he is in my house. I never thought that would happen. Sitting on my couch, tears, talking about a son.
One of the kindest people.
Yeah, he lost. And being that vulnerable with his story. So you just never know where these people, you cannot judge a book by its cover. That's for damn sure.
Yes, that's for sure.
Or by the past. These people are amazing that we've had on our show. And so it's just a blessing. And it's fantastic to have you here and taking time to share your story with us and give some experience, strength, and hope.
Yeah, I hope. That's my goal.
Oh, you will. I know it.
Yeah.
I don't know your story.
Yeah.
I know you, but I don't know your story. And
Do you want me to start at the very beginning, like where it all started, or like
Wherever you're comfortable. Yeah.
I share my story a lot too, so it's like different parts for like different people depending on.
don't
who
I know?
joins.
I'm the same way. It just
Do you
depends.
share your story at meetings or do you do other types of sharing?
I share my story at meetings, but I'm also a parent mentor.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I love that.
2 years now. I've been a parent mentor here in Multnomah County, so we go against ODHS, we go against like treatment facilities, and so my story really depends on what the audience is.
No,
If
I
I'm going
love that.
Yeah, if I'm
I
going
love that for you. Oh my God.
if I go in front of ODHS, of course, I'm not going to talk about my addiction. I'm going to talk about my child welfare story and how that impacted me and all that. But if I'm going in front of a bunch of addicts, yeah, I'm going to share my story because they know.
Yeah, no.
So
I would say give us
I want the whole thing. I want both parts.
and to get to the Boys and Girls Club by 6. Okay.
6:30 at the latest. And it's right down the street. So
I know where it is.
Yeah,
It's by my house.
Yeah, it's not going to take me long to get there. Let me start. So
I would say, how was your childhood?
I want to say, I hope my mom doesn't listen to this. Sorry, Mom. But my childhood was good, but it wasn't good. My mom and my dad divorced when I was 6. And then I didn't get to see my dad after that. We moved around a lot. There was a lot of housing stability. And then we finally moved when I was 11 to 162nd and Burnside, where we managed to put down roots for once. And that's where I found out my entire family were addicts and criminals, from my mom all the way down to my older sister, my cousins, my aunt.
Wow.
We all used together after I found out. So I started drinking and smoking weed when I was 13, 14. 15, I was lying to my mom that I was at my friend Tasha's house and we were in the field drinking HRD vodka, passing out.
Oh, the high quality stuff.
And then I met my oldest's dad, and him and his friends were doing meth. And I was like, that's interesting. And got addicted. Not quick, not at first. At first, I was able to like dabble, and I would still go to school because I was a freaking junior in high school.
Same.
Yeah.
At first, I snorted a few until my nose hurt.
Yeah.
Then I swallowed it in some pills.
Yep, doing that. And then one time, like, they were out hitting licks, and his friend was like, here, let me show you how to really do it, and introduced me to a bong, a meth bong.
A meth
I've
bong.
never smoked it.
Let me tell you.
Interesting.
Girl, I was an IV drug user.
Yeah, so that's how my addiction started, was that bong hit. I got pregnant at 17, had my oldest at 17, 5 months before my 18th birthday. Luckily, she was born negative to all drugs. I managed to stay clean for a little bit, but I was in that environment where everybody in my household was getting high. So I dropped out of school, and
it's hard when
you're surrounded by it.
It is. You have to.
And your mentors too. When you see, like my parents, they were drinkers socially. You look up to your folks. So I wanted to be like that too.
Yeah, I wanted to be like that too. And then that just went on. And then I met, me being 18, of course, I'm going to fight with my mom. I moved out of my mom's and into my sister and her baby dad's house up the street, where I met my now 16-year-old daughter's dad. Lord Jesus. He got me so strung out on drugs, like I didn't know if I was coming or going.
Wow.
After I left him, I don't know how I left him. I just left him. I don't know how. And moved back in with my mom. I had found out I was pregnant when I was 6 months pregnant.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. I was 6 months pregnant. I went into like a depression, and I hope my kids don't listen to this, but to be honest, when I found out I was pregnant, I thought it was 2 months or less, and I went to go have an abortion. I was not in any way, shape, or form ready to raise another kid. I was barely raising the kid I had, and to try and raise another one, it wasn't for it. And the lady put the ultrasound thing on me. She's, oh, honey, you're like 6 months.
Wow.
7. The fuck? Oh, shit. But that didn't stop me, honestly. That didn't stop me. I went to stay in the shelter with my oldest, and we got into an apartment, and I still continued to use. My 16-year-old, her due date was April 1st. April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
She said, psych, I'm not coming out.
That's what Cassandra did.
She said, psych, I'm not coming out. And she came out via C-section on April 12th after 48 hours.
My birthday.
Yeah.
Guess what? Cassandra came out after induced labor for almost 3 days.
Yeah.
C-section.
C-section.
And I was 10 months pregnant.
My heart rate started to drop. Her heart rate started to drop. It was just all bad. So unfortunately, she was born positive to methamphetamine. Of course, DHS steps in. And because I didn't know I was pregnant, I thought it was some other dudes. And he was there and the DHS worker was like, you might want to go get a paternity test. That's so out of pocket for you, sir. Don't say that shit. But we did. And of course, he wasn't the dad because timelines don't match. And so I wrote her dad. I'm like, hey, we have a child together. I understand you're in prison, blah, 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 blah. But I wanted you to know. DHS was in my life. They're like, hey, you're going to do some outpatient. I'm not doing shit, but I will to keep my kids. And I did. I didn't stay clean, though. I wasn't ready. I was barely 21. DHS was like, okay, you want to keep relapsing? We're taking your kids. When you go to residential, we'll give you your kids back. And I did. Stayed there, graduated, went back home, went to outpatient, stayed clean, got DHS out of my life, stayed clean for about a year after that. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm still young. I want to go drink.
Our stories, it's crazy, are similar.
Very similar. When I was listening to your episode, I was like, we have a lot more similar.
Well, it's crazy is my daughter's father was in prison when I found out I was pregnant. And it wasn't a matter of whose, because I dated girls then.
Yeah.
And he was the only guy I had ever had sex with without a condom because he wasn't a trick.
Yeah.
And he was ecstatic. He was so happy about it. And we were just friends.
Yeah.
We were never romantically involved, which actually worked out for the best. But yeah, that's crazy.
It is crazy. I started dating this guy and we were drinking every weekend because I'm like, at least I'm not doing meth. I'm still young. I'm only 22. Like this is what I want to do.
That's what I thought when I was smoking weed. I ain't sticking a needle in my arm.
And then the drinking from every weekend progressed every day. We were drinking from the time we woke up to the time we went to bed. And my cousin was dating this crazy girl who...
I was going to say, you're fiery anyway. I can't eat, like, on a good day. And
I've toned down a little bit.
No, but I'm just saying, I can't even imagine if you got pissed off when you were drinking.
I was a happy drunk.
Oh, that's good.
I was a happy drunk. Unless some drama popped off, then I'm like, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck? But I was, for the most part, unless I was drinking beer, because when I was with my oldest kid's dad and we were drinking beer, that we were crazy. I was crazy. So I switched to liquor, which made me a happy person.
That's funny.
And so my cousin's girlfriend brought over this girl to ask about selling some drugs. I'm like, I don't do that. And because I had open containers of alcohol right next to my bed, which was right next to my kids' bed, she had called DHS on me.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. They didn't do nothing. They just were like, hey, your house is a trash because you're not sober, clearly. And we do have open containers next to children. Is there somewhere where your kids can go? So they went to a really good friend of mine. But there's no court involvement. It's just get your shit together and your kids can come home. That did not work out very well. Because I was like, now I don't have my kids. Now I don't have to fucking take care of them. And I can do whatever I want. That lasted for about 6 months. And my friend calls me, was like, hey, like, I can't keep the kids here. We're going to have to find something else. At that time, I had gotten evicted from my apartment for not paying the rent, because who pays the rent when you're fucking drinking and doing drugs?
And have freedom.
And people in and out of your house. Who does that? And like right after I got evicted, this crazy dude that I was dealing with had broken in after I got evicted, destroyed my house, stole a bunch of shit from my house, and then took a 5x7 picture of my kids and ripped it into pieces and burned the pieces in my bathroom sink. I will never forgive him for that. I don't care what you say about amendments. I will never forgive him for that.
Wow.
But I'm working on it.
I have to tell you, there's one thing when I'm 5 that I have no involvement in. They're dead, but I don't know that I'll forgive you.
Yeah.
Amen.
It's a work in progress to forgive.
And so just to set the record straight on the No, seriously. On the 8th step, when you make a list, you make 3 lists. Some that you want to, some that you will, some that fucking no way. Maybe because you can't, maybe because they're dead, maybe because you don't want to. So it's just putting it on the list.
Oh, yeah.
And then it says to make amendments to those we hurt, unless it's going to hurt someone. And that might hurt you.
And that's what I feel is because to do that to my children who did absolutely nothing to you
Is scandalous.
is super scandalous. So after all that, me and my kids went to stay with my older sister per DHS. I couldn't take my kids out of my sister's house without my sister present. I couldn't leave. I could do whatever I wanted. I just can't take my kids. Me and my sister were sisters. What are we going to do after a while? Argue. Took my kids and went to a trap house. Yes, I will admit my shit. Went to a trap house with my kids. She called DHS on me. And at first, I was so mad at her because how do you do that to family? But I had told my worker, if you take my kids, I'm saying fuck it. Because that's the only thing holding me together right now. And when my sister was like, hey, let me take the kids to a birthday party. That's how she got them out of the house. Yeah, she was scandalous back then, but it's okay.
Her heart might have been in the right place.
She had the best intentions.
Yeah.
She saw where things were going. And she didn't want that to happen. I've forgiven her for that because, yeah. And my caseworker calls me that night, was like, hey, you have court in the morning. We removed your kids. I told you not to leave your sister's house. I'm like, you fucking bitch. I was so mad. I went to court. They're like, yeah, protective custody. We're removing your kids. They're going to a resource home. Or they're going to a foster home. And I ran the streets. Barely saw the kids. And when I did see my kids, I was high or coming down, staying in and out of trap houses, couch surfing, house surfing, barely seeing my mom, barely seeing my sisters. And the only time I did see them is if I needed food, water, clean clothes, or some money. That's the only time I saw them. And then about a year into my DHS case, I went to court because it was the permanency hearing. My caseworker was like, hey, I'm changing the plan. We're going to go to adoption. You've had all year to get your shit together. And I'm going to tell the judge. That we walked in, the judge was like, if you don't get your shit together, I'm going to adopt your kids. I said, no, the fuck you're not. Those are my kids. Called Project Network. Shout out to Project Network, by the way. Got an intake. She was like, hey, I need 1 week. Can you do 1 week? And then we'll get you in. I said, not a problem. I'll use that 1 week to run the streets a little bit more, get it out of my system.
Don't I understand that?
So the second to last night before I go into treatment, me and my ex hit a lick. Got enough money for a hotel room and a lot of drugs. Why not, right? I'm about to go into treatment for 6 months. Get it out of my system. Called some who I thought were friends. Was like, hey, come hang out with us. We're having a good time, blah, 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 blah. They came over. They robbed us for less than a half T of dope at gunpoint.
Oh, my gosh.
My dumb ex calls the cops.
Oh, boy. This is just getting worse.
And I'm like, this fucking dumbass. Why the fuck would you call the cops? We're high. We have the fuck, dude. And the cops come. They search the room because that's what they do, right? The cop looks at me. He was like, Miss Good, you have 2 options. I can take you to jail right now for possession, or I can take you somewhere safe.
That's a nice cop.
Which one do you want to do? He said, I'm taking you to that location, that safe place. I was like, let me call my sister, my older sister. Explain the situation. Are you fucking serious, Kimberly? Blah, blah, blah. Like a whole ring. I'm like, I just need somewhere to go safe tonight. I go into treatment in a day and a half. I just need somewhere safe to go, or I'm going to get arrested. Like, these are my choices. So the cop dropped me off at my sister's house at like 1 o'clock in the morning. She was so pissed at me.
She like your sister, but go ahead.
And the next day I slept all day because that's what we
That's what you do.
And on June 1st, 2012, I went into residential treatment. I went back to Project Network with 1 day clean. My clean date is 5/31/12.
I love that.
And so I was in treatment for about 90 days. And we had what we called back then a wraparound meeting, which is like our DHS workers, our lawyers, all that. And my DHS worker was like, hey, you have 90 days. You're doing good. I want to give you your kids back. I'm like, you know what? Let my kids stay where they are. Let them finish school. Because clearly I have some issues I need to work on. And they don't need a half-assed mom. They need a 100% mom. They're safe. They're stable. I know where they are. I can talk to them whenever I want. I can see them whenever I want. Let them stay where they are so I can work on me. I need to work on these issues so I can be a better mom.
Wow, that's very smart.
My caseworker started crying. I've been a caseworker for a long time, and I've never heard one parent say that at all.
I think when you're sober, you wanted to do what was right for them and not do the whole.
And not bring them from where they've been at, where they have a routine and they've been in the school, to somewhere where they're going to have to switch schools and they're going to have to be around a bunch of other kids that they're not used to. Like, why disrupt their process? Huh. So I went through all of outpatient or residential by myself, graduated in December of 2012. Of course, my sister and my mom were there to pick me up because that's what they do. My sister was so excited. I was like, peace out, bitches. I'm out. Because we were also on lockdown too. So I was ready to go. I went into a clean and sober house.
With who?
I went to, you know who Tana Orcutt is?
Who?
Tana. Yeah, no.
Tana from... No.
Yeah. Like an Oxford house, but not Oxford house.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
We've had so many of them on the show.
Yeah.
And I just hear them do amazing things.
Yes. And then when I got there after a while, they're like, hey, we have max kids. You're going to have to find somewhere else to go. So it's cool, not a problem. Moved into a wrap house, which is similar to Oxford, but not as strict. We go to court. The judge was like, I'm super pleased with you. Let's set a date for unification. What sounds good? When they get out of school, of course. Why disrupt their process? It's a couple months. I can wait. I'm probably going to start crying. But my 2 older kids came home for good in June of 2013.
Wow, that's awesome.
My older kids. We went to court shortly after, and my caseworker dismissed my case. And the judge said, I'm so proud of you for doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Fantastic.
A year after I got clean.
You know what, though? I'm glad for DHS. Seriously.
Yeah.
Especially like in some of these situations. I've heard this other girl at 4D, and thank God for DHS.
They do some good. They got some issues, but you know what? They do some good. I don't think I would have succeeded if it wasn't for my caseworker putting her foot on my ass, honestly.
But also how smart of you to look at the situation and say, they've been through enough. I can wait. I mean,
well, how do
that's
you
beautiful.
know, to be honest with you, your environment, having kids so young, how do you know what the right thing is when you're not involved in the right thing? That's a hard thing to learn parenting.
I just didn't want them to suffer like I suffered as a kid. And they've already suffered enough in their young lives because at this point they were 6 and 4. Yeah, they were with me at the wrap house for about a year or so. And then my mom got sick. She found a lump in her breast and went to the doctors, and it was borderline stage 1, stage 2 breast cancer. She had to do the surgery to remove the lump, chemo, radiation. But she lived with a lady whose stairs were she couldn't get down the stairs, and I was so scared she was going to fall. So I was like, Mom, why don't we live together? You take care of me, I take care of you. At least I know you're taken care of. And so we found a place, thanks to a friend of mine who had moved out of these apartments out in Gresham. And so we moved right into her apartment after they were done cleaning it. The guy was like, as long as you don't have any sex abuse history or arson, pay the deposit and move in. Say less. Okay, this is easy. I believe in second chances, and you're in recovery and you're doing a recovery program. I like to help those kind of people. I was like, okay, cool. So we move in there. And everything's going good. I'm working at Sprint at this point. That place.
I don't know. It gave you a career.
It did. And it taught me a lot. It taught me patience and how to talk to people and how to use my active listening skills.
Because when you first got there,
yeah,
compared to when you left there, your phone skills were a lot better.
Yeah. And I learned how to de-escalate situations. So I learned a lot, and it taught me.
And you took on responsibility.
Yes.
Like when I see that, right, I will tell you at Sprint, I sent 6 different people to treatment. Okay. And not very often will a job send you to treatment and say, I'll save your job. That was my way of 1, giving back, and 2, encouraging you to go through treatment, man. You got this job waiting, right? Yeah. And I will tell you, it worked 2 times. They came back after treatment, and I figured if not, right, they're never going to come back, and I'm going to term you for not showing back up. But I could have a clear conscience that I gave you a chance and I tried. And then I'd be like, I know that you're high stuff, but yeah. And I think the good thing about that place is there was a lot of chances given there, good ones.
There was.
Like we were talking about Alex earlier, right? When Alex came there, I remember him getting his 6-month coin and Tammy telling me. And she goes, I think he goes to your group. And I was like, I've never seen him. and no. And went over and said, congratulations. And him being there, getting the chance to go to work from home. And who gets a chance to get a double degree? And then I got to see his degrees, like when he posted them.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how happy I was.
Did you know that Tammy knew I was pregnant with Bobby before I knew I was pregnant with Bobby?
Tammy has intuition. Shout out to Tammy. It was her birthday yesterday.
Shout out to Tammy.
It was her birthday yesterday. That was my work wife.
Yeah. She knew I was pregnant with Bobby before I even knew I was pregnant. And because she got on me about eating at my desk. And I'm like, but I'm so hungry, Tammy. And she's like, why are you hungry? With that look. I'm like, oh, no. And a month later, I'm like, you're pregnant, aren't you? I said, yeah. She's go talk to Katie, find out about disability, whatever you need, go talk to Katie. I was like, oh my gosh.
Tammy was the only manager that followed the rules.
To the point.
Yeah, no, to the food point, man. If you showed up to work and did a good job, I didn't care if you snacked at your desk.
You didn't care. Mike didn't care.
You have to pick your battles, right?
It's just me and Kelsey recently just saw Mike.
Which Mike?
Estes.
I talk to Mike almost every...
We were at, what's that restaurant right there by Mount Hood? Gino's or whatever?
Gino's. Him and Shauna go there on the weekends for sports.
Yeah, so we were there and we were eating lunch with Bobby. And because I'm still friends with Kelsey to this day. Kelsey and Alex and Lauren, like, those are my squad right there. And we go to pay, we go to leave. And I'm like...
Kelsey, my team lead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, Mike? And he goes, Kim? It was so funny.
No offense, because I know he'll never listen to this, but how old does he look? No.
He's getting up there in age now. He's getting up there.
No, he's a good guy.
He is. So it was nice.
I forgot that you had your last baby at work.
I did.
How different was this pregnancy compared to the others?
So, one, I wasn't in my addiction.
That's what I'm saying.
So I got to experience everything I never got to experience with the teens. However, the relationship I had with his dad wasn't.
I remember.
Comfortable, I guess is a good way to put it, comfortable. So that brought a lot of stress on me. But I will say this, to have a healthy pregnancy and not have my mind all bleh, and experience the kicking inside, watching me grow, and not having DHS come knocking on my door, like having a job, having people that are like, we know you're going to be gone for a while. We got you. Being able to go shop for him, having a baby shower for him, and then the labor was easy too. It was 9 hours from beginning to end. So there's that.
I never wanted to try that again. I was good. Yeah, no.
9 hours and 3 pushes, and he arrived a healthy little boy. And his dad was there. Like, his dad was there, cut the cord, held him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So You got sober, you went to treatment. Do you do anything? I know you're friends with our Skylar, my bro. Do you do anything? Do you go to meetings? Do you do anything? What do you do?
I do. I go to meetings for a while. I stopped going to a meeting. I stopped going to meetings prior to COVID because some shit that I'm not going to repeat because my kids I'm sure will listen to this. Some shit had happened to one of my kids. And instead of going to get high, I went to a meeting because that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to feel safe to go to a meeting and take the power out of shit. The shit that I was talking about in this meeting went outside that meeting to different meetings.
It's not okay.
No.
Yeah.
And my sister had found out. Mind you, if you think I'm crazy, my older sister is batshit crazy. Literally, okay? And she does not play. Especially when she's sober. She does not play. So I hadn't told anybody, my mom, nobody what had happened. She calls me. She's, what the fuck is going on? What happened? How did you know? I heard about it from a meeting. Some girl was in a meeting, word for word, talking about what you were talking about you wanted to go kill somebody. And so I stopped going to meetings. I didn't trust people. If I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be that vulnerable where I want to admit to a crime and you go outside a meeting and share it, I don't feel comfortable being in meetings. So I didn't go to a meeting for a long time, like a good 4 years, to be honest. Maybe 5, if I'm being honest. Maybe 5. And then, of course, COVID hit. So then I couldn't really go to a meeting. But then I started like slowly going back to meetings, just here and there. I wouldn't go to a women's meeting, though, because that's where it all started, was a women's meeting.
So during that time, what did you do for yourself to keep yourself sober?
Not think about it.
Just not.
I had 3 kids and I was working. I was busy.
Yeah.
So it was, but I
that.
still had contact with my support group. So I didn't stop talking to them. I just stopped going to meetings. Okay. I would still talk to my support group about everything. I still had my sisters. So I wasn't alone. I just didn't feel comfortable going back to meetings. And then I had a friend in NA. And she was like, start going to late night with me. She was like, start small. Let's go to late night. I'm like, you want me to go to the most chaotic meeting ever?
Night owls.
Late night, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is chaotic.
Well, it's not now, but it was back then. I'm like, you know what?
It can be.
What up? Let's do it. Let's do it. So I started going to late night. And then she would like pretty much kidnap me, so to speak, and take me to other meetings. So I would slowly start going back to meetings. And then I paused because she died. She had passed away. And a lot of people were talking about her in the NA meetings and how she died and everything. I'm like, that's shitty of you to talk about somebody who's not here to defend themselves at all. Like, regardless if she was clean or not, we don't talk about people that died. And so then I just stopped going to meetings for a while, but I was still with my support group, still doing that, still talking to them. And then I quit working at Sprint because when we merged, they're like, oh, you can't start as an aide or as a lead. You'll have to go back to an agent. I put in almost 8 years in this company. That's what you guys are going to tell me? Peace the fuck out.
19.
Yeah. So I started working for an audiologist as his front desk.
I remember.
Yeah.
You got the receptionist job.
Got the receptionist job. Went back to school for my degree in my associates in medical billing and coding. And then I got fired in the midst of COVID and won my unemployment appeal. So it's like, I'm really taking some time off. I took off 5 months, spent it with the kids, had a blast hanging out with the kids. Whatever they want to do, we did. And then I got bored because I'm not used to being at home. So I applied as a receptionist to a doctor's office. And I worked there for a couple years. Got my degree in medical billing and coding in April 2022. Yeah, 2022. And then we left on good terms. I started working for a chiropractor because I was like, I still want to do medical billing and coding, and I can't do that here because you guys already have a biller. But it was only 3 days a week. It was only part-time, and I wasn't making money. I was still going to meetings. I was engaged in, we called it rewrite recovery. So it's like harm reduction, which helped me a lot because there's other ways of recovery other than NA and AA and church.
Oh, right.
Go
Don't we
listen
know
to
it?
our episodes. Our prior person had to go through medication-assisted treatment. We've had Painted Horse Recovery on.
They're amazing, by the way.
Yes.
Shout out to them.
Jared and Melissa.
But I felt comfortable with those people there. Like, those were my people. And of course, with 3 kids, we're running out of room. There's 5 people to a little itty bitty 2-bedroom. And I was also working as a caregiver. And I was like, we moved to a 3-bedroom where we live now. Enough space for everybody. It's nice. It's not in the best area, but it's enough space for everybody.
I live in not the best area.
So I had a 4D mentor as well. Because yes.
You know that do you know how many stories we've done on 4D?
Yeah.
We did Tony himself.
Yeah. And I was telling my mentor, I was like, I'm so stressed out and overwhelmed because I'm working 2 jobs and I don't have enough money to pay rent or any of my bills. I don't want to go get high because, like, I have so many years invested in this, but I want to go commit some fucking crimes because that's what I'm good at sometimes is to get money.
Oh, I understand.
And she's like, why don't you apply as a mentor? A parent mentor. She's like, what are they going to do? Tell you no? I'm like, you know what? What's the worst they're going to do? Is tell you no? So I looked online. They were hiring.
You had a lot, and you have a lot of lived experience.
Yes.
So it's good.
I submitted an application. The lady calls me the next day. She was like, hey, we just want to make sure that you meet the requirements before we proceed. Is your DHS case closed? I was like, girl, that's been closed for about 10 years at this point. Okay. She's, do you have over a year clean? I was like, I have 11 at this point.
Which is really good at.
Yeah. She's okay. We're going to set up an interview. The process is if you get through the first interview, then there's a group interview. After that, then if they accept you, you'll go through the background, all that stuff. Made it through the first interview. They call me and they're like, hey, let's do the second interview. Did the second interview. And of course, I'm going to cry during my second interview because they're like, can you tell us your story in about 10 minutes? I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay. Because I always cry about the point where my kids came home for good that June because
it's important.
It's important. It was a huge milestone for me.
Yeah.
I was ready to be a mom again. Like, I was ready to be the mom that they needed me to be. So the guy was like, hey, we're going to call you in a couple of days. We have other people, blah, 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 blah. I was like, I'm not getting it. He calls me that night, 3 hours after my interview. I'm sending you an offer letter. Wow. And you got to go through, you still have to go through the background check. All that ODHS, all that stuff. Is there anything that might pop up? I was like, other than my DHS case, I've never been arrested or criminally charged.
You're fortunate.
Very fortunate. He's like, cool, then it shouldn't take long. I started in October of 2023. And then right after that, I started getting my bachelor's in criminal justice.
I love it.
Wow.
Yeah. And like, life has been good. Life was good. Like, I was working full time. I make more than I was making 2 jobs. Like, I had my kids. My kids were taken care of. They were happy. As happy as they can be for teenagers. They're teenagers. And of course, the little one too. I get to be that mom that I never got to be with for my teens. Sports or after school activities, whatever. Me and his dad worked on our friendship. We co-parent wonderfully now, where that man has my back. If I fall short on something our child needs, he picks up that slack for me and we're locked in. You are my best friend. We've been through so much shit in almost 10 years. And you never once told me to go fuck off. You never once told me
Doesn't she sound like me?
You never once told me I couldn't see my son.
Same.
You never withheld my son for me.
People who play games like that, you just hurt the kid.
Yeah. And so he's my number one support when it comes to, and we make sure our kid has everything he could possibly want in life. We're doing good. I'm going through training, getting to know the lingo because it's DHS. A couple months after training, I go to JDH because we're on prelims. I'm on prelims. I search out the judge that had my case. Sit down and wait for everything to be done. I was like, Your Honor, can I approach the bench? And she's, yeah. I was like, do you remember me? And she's, of course I do, Miss Good. I've been wondering about you for the last almost 12 years.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
She's, I've been wondering how you were doing. I was like, I'm doing amazing now. Here's my kids as teenagers. I had a whole other baby. Like, I'm a parent mentor now. Like, I'm doing as good as everything could be. And she's, I'm so proud of you. I'm glad. She's, and I know we'll see each other again because that's the work we do. Yep. So I'm doing good. I'm working with Morrison as a parent mentor.
Morrison's
Child and Family Services.
Yeah.
But we're on the parent mentor side, not the therapy side. A lot of people get that confused. And I finally found people that support me in every way, no matter what that looks like. They suit up and show up for me. And there's support and there's love and
and they understand.
They understand. And it's like being with family sometimes, minus the craziness. So I'm enjoying it. I'm living life, dealing with school and kids and sports and being a mom and loving every second of it because I get to do that today. I made that decision to change my life so my kids will have a better life.
Same.
And then, so as we all know, I have a little sister. So in June, she got sick. They never could figure out what happened to her. They had a stent placed in her. And then on July 16th,
I saw.
She passed away.
I'm sorry.
At the age of 31, at that. And my whole life changed. I called my boss. What happened is they were going to will her to surgery. So I called my boss. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be able to come into work today. I'm not clocking in. My sister has to have surgery. She's cool. I'll check in with you later. Not even an hour later, I'm calling my boss screaming that my sister died. And I needed to take more than a day off. And woke up my kids to me screaming.
And it's hard to lose someone so young.
And we were like, she was my Robin and I was her Batman. We were always together as much as possible. And I go back up to the hospital. We say our goodbyes. And I'm like, this is not real. Like, I'm not seeing my sister dead in this fucking hospital bed. This cannot be real. And I get home and I make a post to tell everybody that I saw it. Because I didn't know who she knew, who she didn't know.
I think I even said something. I'm pretty sure I said something.
Yeah. And my friend showed up. They're like, what do you need? I was like, I need a meeting. I'm not going to relapse because I can't fight a fucking dead person, to be honest. But I need a meeting because I cannot sit in my feelings right now. And we went to a meeting hours after my sister died. Hours.
Same thing.
Because I could not. I was like, how do you handle this I was like, I was prepared to lose my mom, prepared to lose my grandma, prepared to lose my sister. Honestly, my older sister, because she was in her active addiction, prepared to lose my aunt. I've never been prepared to lose my baby sister. The yin to my yang. How do I function?
I'm so glad you knew that because I have to tell you, Peter and I personally have had a year. Okay, no other who goes to IOP 25 years sober. I will tell you the one thing I know, I waited 12 weeks to get into IOP and I went for, they said stress at the time. I'm running a call center and I am workforce, payroll, training, right? Everything we had a department for, I was. And I was working 75 hours a week and it was horrible and my eardrum burst. And the one thing I always know, whether my daughter's father overdosed, whether my mom died, I double up on meetings. And if I don't know what to do, I go to a meeting, no matter what for me. And there's times when I haven't been to as many meetings. My first year at my last job, we don't talk about the name. I signed an NDA, but I didn't get to go to as many meetings and it was a hard year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went to a meeting and then I took some time off.
Absolutely.
But my job gave me the opportunity. They're like, whatever you need, we got you. Come back when you're ready. I'm like, it's going to be a couple of days. I need to get my bearings together.
That's what I would have said. Come back when you need to. Yeah.
And then we had to raise money for her cremation because who the fuck expects to die at 31? And then, so she left behind 2 kids, a 2-year-old at that time and a 7-year-old at that time. My 2-year-old nephew turned 3 4 days after she passed away. So we were out in Tillamook with family because it was my grandma's birthday too, before all this. So we went ahead with the birthday party.
Absolutely.
Because that's what my sister would have wanted. Celebrated my grandma, celebrated my nephew. But my older nephew's dad took him. Won't give him back to us. Won't let us have contact with him. Won't let us see him. Absolutely nothing in the almost 9 months since my sister has passed away. We've been to court. We've called DHS. Nothing. We went to court in October and the judge was like, he's still the biological father. I'm like, a man that has a history of alcohol-related DUIs and DV, felony DV charges, he's the safer option. Oh, okay. Okay. So now we have to find a lawyer in Newport to fight him so we can at least get visits. Because he's refused all contact with every single one of my family members.
Wow.
Okay. We missed a birthday. We missed Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas without him. And we were so used to having him and my sister and my other nephew. Holidays haven't been the same at all. Then comes August. So, of course, I'm going to call my dad after my sister passes away. And I call him at 8:00 in the morning. I'm like, so I hate to tell you this, Dad, but the daughter that you never got to see after she was a baby just fucking passed away.
I bet you said it just like that, too.
I did. Mind you, my dad lives in Canada and has for the last 30 years. So he's not seen us outside of video. And because my sister was a baby when he left, she didn't really know him, so they weren't close like we were. So he watched on live his daughter's memorial service and then came down to Oregon for the first time in 30 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about emotional.
I watched him get off that plane and walk through whatever the thing is called. And I felt like I was 6 all over again. Like, I got my dad. And we spent all week with him. We spent almost 2 weeks with him out here in Portland.
Did that help you heal?
It did. It did. I told him, I was like, no matter what happens in this week or 2 weeks that we're together, I'm 36 years old. I deserve to know what happened back then. It's not going to change my opinion. It's not going to change how I treat people, but I deserve to know that after 30 years. Like, I'm not a kid anymore. And he's okay. You're right. You do. I'll tell you my side of the story and you can decide what you want to do with that information. And he did. We made a bonfire. We were out past Newport and Seal Rock for a week because my stepmom has never seen the beach. She's never seen the ocean. Spent the whole week there and he told me his side of the story. I fucked up. And it was bad between me and your mom. So why make it worse? I was like, you could have fought for us a little bit more.
That you went through, you probably understood.
I was like, as an adult, I get it now. But as a little girl, I didn't. I thought you didn't love me.
Right.
I never stopped loving you. You're my firstborn. So I'm never going to stop loving you. And I've loved you when you were growing up, even though I never got to see you. I loved you when you're an addict, when you had kids, everything. I never stopped loving you. I never stopped thinking about what you were doing and everything. And I'm hoping that this week we'll have a chance to rebuild our relationship.
Nice.
However that looks like. And now we talk every day.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Every day. It's something.
Family, it seems, means a lot to you.
It does.
I can tell.
It does.
And thank God for sobriety, because you wouldn't have had any of this without it.
None.
Look at what you've been through. and stayed sober, those events would drive normal people, I think, to drink.
A lot of people ask me, they're like, how do you stay clean and sober after losing your sister and all this stuff with your nephew? I was like, have you ever tried to find a dead person?
And for me, I've been through way worse stuff sober than when I was using. When I was using, I had a shitload of money and could buy my way out of most things. But I've gone through way worse stuff in sober, and I know that to be high during it isn't going to make it any better.
And I was like, and honestly, my sister was proud of everything I've accomplished this 12 years, from the kids coming home to another kid, to my degrees, to my job. I was like, she was so ecstatic that I became a parent mentor, because I'm now completing the circle that was given to me and having the opportunity to use my voice and helping the women that I work with.
No, I think that's awesome. I think that for you, that is one of the most perfect jobs. Every person that's almost an executive director or something that we've interviewed or has had a peer that's been through something almost through there. I am certified as a certified recovery mentor.
And you know what? I'm on the wait list for the scholarships for certified recovery mentor. I find out on Monday if I got in.
And I just applied for the scholarship for CADC.
I didn't miss that scholarship, but
no, you have to get it's a process. Yeah. But I don't want to run a company anymore. No. So I just, and money's not the almighty God to me at this point in time. It was for a long time. And also being Cassandra's mom was extremely important to me. So I'm at a different phase. I'm older.
I'm at a different phase.
And the podcast has really helped me see a lot of opportunities. Yeah. And if I can take my business smarts and my recovery and blend them, I will be a force
to be reckoned with. And then you have people like me in your life. I'm like, oh, I got you. What do you think?
And it's cool because we haven't had a story with DHS, and I'm glad you bring that. And it's hope for someone. The whole point of the podcast is we want people to know, no matter how bad it gets, that you can have recovery. Right. You really can. Whatever way that is for you.
And however you get there, doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there. And that's what I tell the moms that I work with. I don't care how you get there. I don't care. I want you to get there. And I want you, and like I tell them my story. I shorten it, of course, because there's not always a lot of time. But I tell them, I went through addiction. I lost my kids. And look, like, this is what I've accomplished since then. I've been clean longer than I've been using.
Yeah.
And that's my older kids never really remember that stuff from when they were kids, because they're older now.
I'm very lucky. When I was gone, Cassandra was 2, and she doesn't remember. Yeah. She knows.
Yeah, my kids know. They grew up in it.
She didn't know everything until I did this podcast. Like, she didn't know. Doctor said abort or get sober.
Yeah.
And she's, thanks for not aborting me. And I'm like, you're welcome.
My teens grew up in NA. They know, what recovery looks like, and treatment, and the talk, and the everything. So they know. But little one, he thinks going to meetings is fucking group therapy. He's so innocent.
It's good though.
And I love that for him, because I was just telling his dad, I was like, he will never see me like that. Yeah. Ever. He'll never have to experience what it's like being neglected by your own mom because she's too busy worried about drugs or getting high or doing them or whatever.
And I love that the worst time in your one of the worst times in your life, you went to a meeting.
100%.
And that you know that it's there. Yep. And I don't know. Personally, for me, they soothe my brain. It's not about using anymore. Sometimes my brain goes just too fast. Yeah. And it calms me down. Especially, I go to the nighttime meeting a lot. And it's like, I have a system. Like, even when I'm working, I go to the nighttime meeting. It's when I decompress, listen to other people's stuff, and then snack and snuggle time with my dog.
Snuggle.
It's like it soothes my brain. Might have been to stop using, but now it's to live correctly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then did that.
Yeah, and the fellowship too for me is really important. I have the meetings, but there's so much that I do outside of the meetings, and I'm constantly involved in touching the program.
Me too.
With
and I'm
various
constantly
people.
on the go with like work and stuff. And I can't always, when I go to a meeting, I can't always talk, especially if there's another mom there. So
I understand.
I was like, so I have my own meetings that I go to where I know they will not be at all. So if I need to unload, like, I'm not going to put that on their shoulders. Damn, that's what my parent mentor is going through. But they know, like, I'm very upfront and honest. This is what
When I got sober, I went to a gay men's meeting and it was the safest place. I say it often for a person who just got out of prison and went to jail for prison for the escort service. They didn't want to sleep with me. I didn't want to sleep with them. You know, how safe is that?
100% safe. And but I tell all my moms, I'm like, this is like what's going on in my life. And I'm going to disappear for a little while because I got to take care of my mental health.
Yeah.
And I can't take care of you guys if I can't even take care of myself or my kids.
Mental health is important.
And the support that I get from my moms too is like tier one. Like they're like, do what you got to do because you do a lot, not just for us, but for Morrison in general. Because I do a lot.
I love that.
But I get to do that today. I get these opportunities that almost 13 years ago, I never would have thought I had the opportunity. Now I sit and I go talk in front of ODHS and, hey, we need you guys to be more trauma informed. And, hey, this is what we're needing. And, hey, maybe you shouldn't shun addicts because you don't know addiction doesn't mean that it's wrong.
And there's a lot of dual diagnosis with trauma. Absolutely.
Dual diagnosis. I was like, it's mental health. I was like, you can't judge somebody because you're never walked in their shoes when you can literally walk in their shoes at any given moment.
Well, and it's a stigmatism as well, which
we hope we're removing that stigmatism. That's another goal of our show is remove that stigmatism so people will look at and see the person.
Yeah, see the person, not
see that you're brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's not, and what you do on drugs is not what you do when you're sober.
Let me tell you, the half the shit that I did in my addiction, I would have known.
Yeah, I know. I look back and go, oh my God.
If I would have went to jail for everything I did, boy.
I would still be in jail, honestly. If I went to jail for the shit that I was doing in my addiction, I'd still be in jail to this day.
Yeah.
With all that stuff that's going on, I'm still standing.
I love that. What would you like to say to our listeners? Maybe some moms even. Anything you want to say? Like,
don't give up.
Ooh.
Do not give up no matter what you are going through.
I love that.
Tomorrow's a new day.
It is. And this too shall pass.
This too shall pass, even if you have to take it second by
I used to
second.
think that was corny. Like, I really did. A lot of that stuff. When I go through difficult, and I used to not be able to just stay in today. Yeah. Whether it was at Sprint or my last job, always worrying about what I had to get done, payroll, whatever. My brain would never just stay in today. And sometimes you just got to stay in today and what you can do for today.
And sometimes the next 5 minutes.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why I tell a lot of my moms. It's even a minute. Sometimes just what can you do in the next 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And
break
self-care.
it down. Break it down to the smallest thing is what I try to do.
What's more important, what's less important to get done.
Yeah.
And I think when you get sober, you have to do it for yourself. However, I did it to get off parole, then for the child, and then I was third. Yeah.
But I got sober for myself. I got clean and sober for myself. And I've never regretted that decision at all.
Me either.
Because
I'm scared to use, like I say it all the time. There wasn't even fentanyl when I fucked around, and I'm scared, just like our last guest. The drugs, that person that I don't even know.
Yeah. And that's what I tell a lot of people too, is that's another reason to keep me clean is that
it's scary.
It's scary out there and people are dropping like flies.
Absolutely.
Everywhere we look,
we know.
Social media, news, whatever, it's drug overdose or violence because they're high. I was like, and why do that?
To your babies, to yourself.
Yeah.
Everything. I want to thank you for coming by. I'm so happy to see you and see you doing well. I'm even more thrilled that you're a mentor. I love it. Love it. Love it. Big time.
Yeah, I appreciate you being so vulnerable with your story. And it sounds like now you're just living your best life. Best life ever.
As much as I can, there's days where
it's a lot.
I still want to call my sister and be like, hey, get your fucking mom or something like that. Because that's what we did, or we would argue Like, we wouldn't even be arguing. We would sound like we're arguing. My mom would be like, oh my God, you guys shut up. We're like, we're not even arguing. I'm like, now I don't have anybody to do that with because I love my older sister to death. Don't get me wrong. I love her to death, but she's not my baby sister. We're trying to work on our relationship. So I hope if she hears this, yes, let's work on our relationship because she is now also clean and sober too. And that's what I wanted.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think you've been sober more of your baby sister's life, right? Yeah. So different relationship than with your older sister.
Yes.
So that I think sometimes plays a key into it too.
Yeah. So now we can really build our relationship. And like she likes to tell me, we're all we got now.
Yeah.
Amen.
And you've got all these tools now to make it through.
And lived experience to share with others.
Your experience.
I love the judge thing, just so you know. Yeah.
I still see her every time I do prelims or when my mom has court. Like, I still see her a lot and she just smiles when she sees me.
Oh,
and I haven't been able to track down my caseworker yet, but I will.
We had a lady on our show a couple weeks ago, and she was friends with the lady in treatment that told me, look, Julie, I think you can do this, but you need to find a meeting and stay there for the rest of your life.
Yeah. When I went back to Project Network, they're like, sit down and shut the fuck up. Learn something. Learn something. You might learn something this time. You might learn something that'll keep you staying around. And I still see the staff at Project Network to this day. And they're like, you went from this angry, hurtful, sad person to this beautiful woman whose light shines right through you. Yeah. And everybody can see it. And when the ladies was like, and now you're a mentor, and now you get to help people.
Oh
and
my gosh.
I just want our listeners to know that Kim is white.
Yes.
I just want you to know that because I understand. Yeah.
And also, after my sister died, one thing that I was always scared of doing was skydiving.
Yeah, no.
So a month after she passed away, yes, I went with my coworkers. We went 15,000 feet in the air.
Okay, I don't have that much guts.
I don't know that I do either. I'll
and we're
tell
going
you
again
that.
this August. We're going to try 18,000 feet this year.
Wow.
But I get to do this stuff.
You get to do this stuff.
And sober. And laugh about it.
It's awesome.
And have fun with people.
You can laugh about that, girl.
It was actually not bad. It was once you got off the plane, it was pretty peaceful.
Yeah, I think I'll take your word for it.
Just don't look down, okay?
Thanks again. And I know you have somewhere to be. So this is Peter.
And this is Kim.
Thanks for listening. That's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks to each and every one of you for lending us your ears and hearts. Your engagement is what fuels our passion and keeps this podcast thriving.
We cherish the moments we share here and hope they resonate with you, whether you're on a daily commute, at the gym, or just taking a moment for yourself.
Make sure to head over to our website at realrecoverypodcast.com. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter for the latest insights and uplifting stories from our community delivered straight to your inbox.
Click that subscribe button on your favorite podcast player too, so you can keep up with every new episode. It's your support that keeps our conversation alive and meaningful.
And if our stories have touched you, consider using the donate button on our site. Your contributions, no matter the size, are deeply appreciated. They help us continue our mission of sharing hope and healing.
Join us beyond the podcast and follow our journey on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and on X, formerly known as Twitter. All the links are on our site, so you can stay connected and be a part of the Real Recovery community every day.
Your likes, shares, and comments not only spread the message of recovery, but also remind us that we're all in this together.
So, until we meet again, remember that recovery is a journey, not a destination, and we'll be here to accompany you every step of the way to recovery, real recovery.
Thanks for listening.